In 2019, I was fortunate to visit Singapore in a short exchange program. Memories may fade away, but first impressions remain the same. Singapore is a global nation. At the time, we thought global meant something very vague. It has something to do with rapid development, world-class infrastructure, and even multinational corporations, which developing countries like ours long for and strive forward. Now, as an expat, having lived here for a few months, I realized that Singapore's definition of being global is actually quite restrictive. It is a carefully crafted vision designed to project a specific image to the world. And that's why I asked myself, how is Singapore's vision of globalness being portrayed on the international stage? And what does globalness actually convey in the Singapore context? And what better fit the question than where I started my whole journey? I will be heading to Changi Airport to investigate the most recent icon of Singapore's aviation industry, the jewel. I will be capturing the daily moments in jewel to see if I can form a globalist view out of it. I'll also interview one of my Vietnamese friends who was on the same visit in 2019. He has a lot of memories to recall. That said, I will also offer my own critiques of Jewel. Having been there for many times, I feel that there's something that has gradually faded over time. And I will draw on some of Angelia Poon's comments on Singapore's approach to a global city. Her insights highlight that the government's concrete strategies are well planned and executed, but also hint at some fundamental tensions. But first, some history lessons. 2013 National Day Rally, then Prime Minister Lee Hsien Loong announced plans for Fresh Jewel. It is a well-rounded project, entertaining locals and foreigners with the taste of a modern globalized city.
It shouldn't still be there. We'll expand T1, so T1 will be connected with it, as will the others. But it'll have shops, restaurants, and a beautiful indoor garden. So we have gardens by the bay. This one is gardens at the airport.
Jewel is one of the most recent improvements of Changi Airport, along with Terminal 2 upgrade in 2020 and the upcoming Terminal 5, which commences in 2025. These are the checkpoints of a 4-decade expansion of Changi Airport since the Terminal 1 opening in 1980. Where the world meets Singapore and Singapore meets the world, that is how Jewel displays itself to the global audience. Just like the rain vortex behind me, loneliness is a central theme upon which Jewel is gradually constructed. It is not only from those who have brought the designs into real life, it is the narrative of those who have envisioned it.
I was thinking of the film Avatar and that extraordinary landscape with suspended rocky islands filled with lush trees.
Happy with what you see today?
I think it's as good as Avatar. I'm very happy.
Right. And you know, you're also
that is Moshe Safdie, an Israeli architect and urban planner credited for his flagship design studio, Safdie Architect, the author of many world-renowned icons across the globe, from China, India, Canada, and of course, Singapore, with the Marina Bay Sands, Boulevard 88, and Jewel at Changi Airport. By topping many prestigious awards, thanks to its unique architecture and experience, Jewel Changi Airport has pinpointed its position as the image of a glorious Singapore in the world media.
It was so breathtaking. Yeah, that was a first for me because I have never seen anything that is such perfect as Jewel. It's a man-made structure, but in that man-made structure, there are so many wildlife, like trees and nature, that I just feel I just can't say any word about it.
This year celebrates the 5th anniversary of Jewel. When Jewel was first opened to the public in 2019, nearly 35 million people flew to Singapore, and more than 300,000 visitors alone set foot in Jewel. Last financial year, sales figures were reported to have reached pre-pandemic levels. With 30% of visitors outside Singapore, Jewel has been a must-visit place amongst travelers and expats. Its reputation is not only contained in the region of Southeast Asia, but also in further developed Asian countries, and even those in the Western world.
In the heat, catching public transport everywhere, I I thought we could just spend the day together at Jewel, having a look at what there is to see, do and eat. And there is a lot of it. But I also want to share
Jewel is also home to many global events, notably the current series of Disney Cruise themed events in the coming Christmas, or just last year, when Prince William made an iconic visit to Jewel as part of his trip to Singapore to award his annual environmental award. And that's the dish that the Singaporean government wants to serve their visitors. A 5-star full-course meal encapsulating the government's stance on Changi Airport as an international gateway.
When you look at the goals of Singapore, goals of the government of Singapore when they built this wonder, like to advertise it, an image of Singapore to the world, I think they have done it flawlessly.
Changi Airport secures Singapore's position as a global aviation hub.
Like everything about Jules just scream refreshness, natural way of living, cleanliness, everything that the government of Singapore is trying to express to the world is enclosed in that structure.
Jewel is well planned by the government to display the nation as a global city-state, as Poon argued for a well-rounded analysis of state-directed cosmopolitanism, that in mapping out its plans for a global city, the state is also actively constructing and normalizing a vision of the world within which to embed the island nation. The argument was recently utilized to justify the Terminal 5 expansion plan. This newly built terminal will continue the narrative of a structured, modern, resilient nation, especially after the pandemic.
From arriving onto the Sky Train, to immigration, to baggage collection, to a beautiful Singapore welcome. T5 will be a place that all Singaporeans can take pride in and enjoy.
This positive attitude, however, does not seem to be universal to all locals and visitors. When Jewel was just a plan on paper, a small group of netizens were already unimpressed with the idea of another shopping mall in airport. In his study on the role of Changi Airport in nation building, Woon Wai Seng illustrated the concept of a vocal minority, in which they would prefer Changi Airport to remain functional. Even after soft opening, Jewel is not void from criticism, despite those who have raised their voices being a vocal minority. This group of people, however, is more diverse, coming from different nationalities and social classes. This notion of another shopping mall in airport comes from the fact that Jewel is co-owned by Changi Airport Group and CapitaLand, which owns an additional 19 extra malls in Singapore and a few dozen more in East and Southeast Asia. And so, if you neglect all the parts you do in Jewel, like the Rainbow Tech or the Kanopi Park, then Jewel just operates like a normal shopping mall, like Island Orchard or Dum 8. But consider Jewel as a global transit place, then Jewel has been able to incorporate a level of luxuriousness in it.
You can say about like it's expensive, right? It's an overpriced shopping mall that is just pump the price of 2 times just for the view of the rainbow text and all the nature around it.
This has created a dilemma for the Jewel experience, inaccessible to the low and middle class, but not unique enough to the upper class who would have seen such similar concepts elsewhere. Jewel is one instance where globalism is embodied in the frame of Western-style consumerism. This further elaborates what Poon described as a vision of the world that Singapore is trying to achieve. Poon illustrated that in the context of globalization, Singapore targets itself as a cosmopolitan society, but championed and represented primarily in terms of a change in consumers' culture, a model similar to other global cities such as New York and London. This consumerist culture isn't unique to Singapore, however, as many increasingly popular countries are implementing similar strategies to boost their appearance on the international stage. Just a few months ago, Qatar's Hamad Airport overpassed Changi to top the Skytrax World Airport Awards. Developing countries such as Vietnam are not out of trend. Commercial buildings and shopping centers, such as the landmark 81, one of the tallest buildings in Southeast Asia, are slowly embracing a consumerist culture amongst the populating middle class.
tourists will only go there once or maybe twice, and they won't visit there again until they like basically visit the Singapore again. But residents, they might feel some bad things about Joe because they experience it more on maybe a monthly or daily basis.
So the consumer's frame Joe is situated in has limited its potential to give a universal experience where global citizens can fully enjoy. But with its current success in terms of financial performance and selling the red dot image to the world, Joe isn't likely to change its role in directing the pragmatic government as well as its consumerist approach in globalism. Despite being part of a successful practical strategy, Joe is only for one-time tourists who can afford the fullest experience. Just like jewelry, bringing happiness to only those who can afford it.